Joining us now, former host of MSNBC's Hardball, Chris Matthews. Yay, former Ohio.
Here I am.
Here you are. Former Ohio State Senator and former national co-chair for Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign, Nina Turner, staff writer for The Atlantic and MSNBC political analyst Ashley Parker, and former Republican congressman from Virginia, Barbara Comstock. All right.
It's a mixed bag.
It is. We tried to make it interesting for your triumphant return to the 2 p.m. hour. 3 p.m. hour of MSNBC. Welcome back, Chris.
Bobby. Lessons from Bobby.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Epstein first. We're going to get there. We got you for 2 blocks.
Do you know why the Republicans have fought to the last person on this, or why Mike Johnson's taken up the cause? Why is he in this cause? Who whispered to him there's some reason to hold this list? I don't know.
Don Bacon, Republican from Nebraska, just on. He said that he believes this will get to the floor and he will vote yes.
But it won't get past the Senate or the president.
If it does get to the president and he says no one releasing this, how much damage can be done with that? Is that damaging?
You know what? It's better than where we were when I was here on Putin and his connection with Putin. Everybody thought there was a connect the dots. We shouldn't have done that. We should have waited until they connected themselves. In this case, you're right, if he stands up and says, I want this document kept secret, I don't want these names out, for whatever reason I'm keeping to myself, that's a problem.
Ashley, this is the story that just will not go away. The Epstein files keep coming back. Today, another set of emails released. We could get more. There's a pretty big document dump that reporters are going through right now.
Yeah.
I mean, how seriously is the White House taking this?
I mean, this is among all the things that Trump has done that have happened since he returned to power. This is one of the most sticky. And I'm always surprised at what outrages people, particularly members of his own base, because it is so rare. His own base is outraged. But even, for instance, the demolishment of the East Wing had resonance in a way I wouldn't have necessarily predicted would have been on the top 100 list of things people are most outraged about. But for Trump's base, even some of them, this is it. He cannot make it go away. His White House has tried different strategies, different talking points. And in this latest drip of emails just puts him, again, very close to Epstein and very close to at least one of Epstein's victims. And it coincides with this moment of a discharge petition possibly successfully being executed. So it's something he is absolutely going to have to deal with. And we've seen him try to say, this doesn't matter, let's move on. And again, it's one of these rare times where even fellow Republicans say, wait a minute, we're going to stay here. We don't care what you say, Mr. President.
Congressman Comstock, is this a bigger deal than the ACA extensions? Again, Congressman Bacon was just saying this is something that a lot of Republicans feel needs to be extended as well. I mean, can you say one is a bigger deal than the other? Is it what should the focus be on?
Well, I mean, sadly, Trump is meeting with people today on this issue when he hasn't met with anybody on extending health care. You know, you heard the urgency from Don Bacon's constituent about, life and death situations. I mean, there's going to be women who are having babies in January and February and don't know if they're going to have health care. And what is Donald Trump worried about? What's in the Epstein files? I mean, these, which should have been released already, and the files that were released today didn't come from the Justice Department or from anything that, the White House has allowed to be released. They're coming from the estate. So the White House is absolutely spending energy on covering up. Pam Bondi told him, there's stuff in there about you. And there have been fights at the White House. There have been fights between and among, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who apparently almost quit. Remember, we heard those stories back months ago. So this is something that Trump has expended a lot of energy on covering up, and the White House is doing it. And it's disgraceful. And so, yes, they should be put out, but the American people should get back to having, the White House focused on health care and these subsidies. And it's pretty sad that somebody like Don Bacon is leaving Congress because you have such corruption with this White House that these are the kind of things they focus on, cover-ups and demolishing the White House and, not spending their time on policy when someone like Don Bacon is trying to get good policy done and helping his constituents. And he didn't even mention, well, he did mention the tariffs, but you have suicides by farmers because of these tariffs that are absolutely destroying the Midwest. And Don Bacon understands this, but Donald Trump, he's saying, the Republicans want to allow him, to have his little moment with tariffs. Well, it is destroying the Midwest and lives and families and farmers and lots of other industries. But we're just going to let Donald Trump have his little moment with his little insane policy of tariffs that are tax increases, that all these Republicans who say they don't want tax increases have been, just sitting back and saying, increase taxes. Well, they're going to see their moment, just like they did in Virginia and New Jersey, where they got wiped out.
Yeah. And Nina, join in on this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the president is making it clear that he centers himself. He, out of his own mouth, said that he would release the Epstein files, and now it turns out that because this doesn't put him in the best light necessarily, maybe, that he doesn't want to release them. He should release them. There was a PBS poll that came out, not necessarily that polling moves politicians, but the PBS poll came out in October where almost 80% of the American people across the political spectrum said they wanted the files released. Now, I don't know where the other 20% are. Maybe they're on Mars or they got their head in the sand, but 80% of the American people said release the files. The president should not only release the files, he should, as the Congresswoman just laid out, be centering the needs of the American people when it comes to health care. But one of the reasons why he does not care, and the irony of this, is that him and the members of Congress, I mean, they're on the taxpayers' health care plan. And so they're treating the American people, the very people that put him there, and then even some of those who didn't. But once he took the oath of office, his job is to serve the people, to allow people to starve. You're going to argue, send your Justice Department before the United States Supreme Court so that you don't have to release contingency funds so that people can eat. I mean, Kate, this is worse than let them eat cake. This is let them eat absolutely nothing.
So,
this
Ashley,
is not why people didn't vote for the president for this.
So, Ashley, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and I'd love you to weigh in on this as well. The shutdown did reveal quite a dark side of Donald Trump. I mean, posting about the Grim Reaper coming to slash government jobs, laying off workers, just wait, suing states to say, no, you can't release these SNAP funds, arguing that the people that are really hurting from this or should be punished during the shutdown are Democrats, even though when you look at the maps, the people that enjoy the SNAP benefits or people that need the SNAP benefits or people that need the ACA subsidies largely come from everywhere, but there's a big concentration in the deep red states. There was a certain callousness that went further than I've seen Donald Trump go in the past. Usually when he's presented with suffering, or in the past when he had been presented with suffering, he's folded, which is why I thought the Democrats might have a chance to get him at some point to force the Republicans to vote on an extension of these subsidies. Am I wrong to say that there's a change there? Has there been an evolution or a devolution?
Well, it's interesting. Part of what it revealed is what we've long known, Katie, which is his sort of gleeful exuberance of, we're going to make cuts to Democratic projects in Democratic states. We're going to lay off the federal bureaucrats who we don't like anyhow. I think that's less of a revelation for students of the president and more of an underscoring that this is not Barack Obama. There's no red states and blue states. There's just purple states and a unified American. He's always made clear that he views himself as the president for his supporters. What is perhaps more surprising, some of the stuff like the Affordable Care Act, the premiums, the subsidies, that's something that is going to hurt his supporters as much as anyone else. Same with the SNAP benefits. It's interesting what you said about when he is faced with suffering, he often folds. I think that's right, but it's often visual pictures of suffering, the sort of suffering you see in a war, in a strike, sometimes even in immigration detention facilities. But I wonder, to your question, I don't know the answer. Some of these premiums, that there's not sort of a photo image or a TV image that captures someone like you played in that phone call whose premiums, whose health care is now going to cost more than their salary. And that might be the disconnect that you're articulating, Katie.
Chris, you're making faces, you're
Yeah,
shaking your head. Tell me.
I think that the Democrats played this whole thing wrong about the shutdown. The way to get to Trump is to get to Trump. He doesn't care about Obamacare. The Republican Party was ready to stone John McCain for supporting it. They're never going to give it. It's in their blood. They don't believe in socialism, whatever. They're not. How about this? Release the files, or the government's not going to operate again. Just release the files. Stick them right in his heart and make him hurt. And he'll feel it. He'll feel that all night long, all next day. He'll feel it. They're forcing me to give out something I don't want to give out. How do you do that? Do it like this. Real hardball.
All right.
That's what I would do. That's how I'd play it.
Yeah.
The healthcare is in the Republican districts. These subsidies, they aren't welfare subsidies. They are for like farmers and for small business people. These are subsidies for working people, and they are disproportionately in Republican-red areas and districts. So
that's a good argument.
Part of the problem, there is who cares. It shouldn't be about, we're making this about who's red and who's blue instead of about who's feeling the pain. The average everyday working people.
But that's just an acknowledgement of where Donald Trump stands on it.
No, I get that, Katie, but I'm saying that the major point should be is that the American people from all stripes are feeling the pain.